Welcome to the Rebuilding of Venezuela podcast. Business opportunities, the market, and the talent needed to make it happen. We bring you a dual perspective, the U.S. business lens and the inside view from Venezuela. Welcome to the Rebuilding Venezuela podcast. Business opportunities, the market, and the talent needed to make it happen. I'm Alex Miranda, coming to you from Miami, Florida, and I'm joined by my partner, Ignacio, who's on the ground in Venezuela. Together, we bring you a dual perspective, the U.S. business lens and the inside view from Venezuela as the country begins repositioning itself economically. Each week, we break down what's happening, what smart companies are doing, and where opportunity is forming, with a special focus on the talent that will ultimately determine who succeeds. Let's start with your Venezuela reconstruction update. One of the biggest mistakes people make when talking about rebuilding a country is assuming everything happens at once. It doesn't. Reconstruction happens in phases, and phase one always focuses on restoring what you might call the operating system of the economy: energy production, industrial logistics, infrastructure, engineering capability, supply chains. Without those pieces working together, nothing else moves. Retail doesn't expand, manufacturing doesn't restart, foreign investment doesn't scale. So the first companies that begin positioning in moments like this tend to operate in sectors like oil and gas, energy services, engineering, infrastructure, and logistics. These are the industries that restore economic functionality. But here's the interesting part. Most companies assume that positioning means physically moving people into the country, flying teams in, offices opening, deploying capital. But there's another strategy that's far more practical right now: remote talent positioning. If your company believes Venezuela will eventually reopen for you, one of the smartest moves you could make today is hiring a professional based in Venezuela. Not to start operations tomorrow, not to open up an office tomorrow, but to begin building relationships, tracking market signals, networking with industry contacts, understanding the regulatory landscape. And that professional can still support your company across other Latin American markets while doing that. It's strategic positioning, it's low risk, and it gives companies something incredibly valuable: local intelligence before the rush begins. Today, Ignacio and I are going to break down the industries that are most likely to move first in phase one, and the kinds of roles companies could already be hiring remotely to begin establishing presence. Because when markets reopen, capital moves fast, but talent takes time. And that's your Venezuela reconstruction update. So, Ignacio, from your perspective, inside Venezuela, are professionals already preparing for this moment? What industries do you see people watching most closely?
Okay, Alex. Yes, I think that what's interesting is that the preparation looks different depending on which side you're on right now. First of all, on the professional side, I believe that what I'm seeing with, for example, Venezuelan engineer, project manager, logistic coordinator, people who have been working informally or in reduced role for years, suddenly they're updating their resume, they are reaching out to me or to all networks that they had, asking about, certification requirement, or asking what's going on inside Venezuela. There's a sense that something real is happening, Alex, and they don't want to be left behind. They don't want to miss it. Okay, basically. And if I think a little bit on the company perspective or on the company side, I'm getting a different kind of conversation. Obviously, it's not we want to hire right now. It's more like help us understand what's available. What does the talent landscape look like if we need someone in, for example, Zulia, Maracaibo, Anzuati, or Monagas? Could we find them? They are asking me, what's the talent? Where's the talent? And what's the experience behind it? And that question is, Alex, I think it's very incredible revealing, because those are companies that are doing, research at the early stages to be prepared for that boom. That's a company that is thinking, 12, 8 months ahead. The companies, Alex, I think that the companies calling me right now aren't asking me, can we hire? They're asking me what's available. And that's what I'm seeing.
It's interesting you mentioned the Venezuela side, the talent side, because I think companies here, some companies here don't realize that what happened in Venezuela is you had thousands of people working in
And
the
they
oil and gas industry.
and they went away. They went away.
Well, they may have left the country, but they also went away into other industries. So you may have graduated engineering, oil and gas, but that job left. And so you become something else. You do a career pivot in Venezuela. So what do you have? You got people who worked in the oil and gas 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And now they're like, wait, hold on a second. I graduated with this degree. Like, I know this stuff. So you probably, what you're seeing over there and what I'm seeing too is there's a mad rush to update your resume, right? Let people
Exactly.
know, hey, I graduated in this. I have this experience. Sure, the last 10 years, 5 years, whatever, I've been working in a manufacturing facility or whatever, but I'm ready. I'm available. And I want to be a part of the reconstruction boom. Is that the general sense, the energy that's happening over there?
Alex, as I told you on episode 1, I've been doing like a little bit of a LinkedIn campaign, and I have been starting to reach out to those professionals that are working for other oil and gas companies. They are, I don't know how to say it, but they are like trying to create a conversation with me on what's going on there. How long is it gonna take for companies to operate here in Venezuela? Are there any people or professional available? What's their experience like? And for the Venezuelan that wants to come back, I think they're really excited. I have been connecting with Venezuelan, actively working with US company that actually, if I offer them a job, they will come back right away. But there are others that at the same time, they have told me like, listen, I could do consulting, but I'm not coming back to Venezuela. So, there's a mixed feeling about it, but yeah, yeah.
It's an interesting concept, the diaspora that will come back and the diaspora that won't. However,
Mhm.
the ones that won't will be
Will
eagerly
help
excited to help.
any way possible, Alex. They will help
Absolutely.
any other way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of them work for oil and gas companies over there. And those oil and gas companies are going to do business in Venezuela. They might not move back, but hey, I'm Venezuelan. So I
Hmm.
have insight and understanding. A lot of those people are probably being pulled into strategic meetings or
Yeah, exactly.
business
Consultants.
development meetings,
Hmm.
which I think right now, Ignacio, I think right now, if your company knows Venezuela will eventually reopen, why not hire talent now? Now, I'm not talking about the physical talent needed
Yeah.
to whatever. What I'm talking about is, for example, business development
What you're
professionals.
telling me is that you're showing companies here in this episode just to let them know that they can start building relationship if they
Should,
deploy someone here,
should,
right?
they
Tracking
should.
regulatory changes, mapping local supply chains, attending industry events,
Yes,
understanding what
yes.
what what contractors are going to be operational. That's important, and I think that's what companies in the US could start, deploying for sure.
Yeah, yeah, they need local representation there already. And when you're in sales, look, some people are in a sales, have a company where the sales cycle is very short. You can sell a product within a week. But let's be real with each other. A lot of big operators, the sales cycle is 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, even a year, right? If Boeing wants to sell an airplane, they don't sell an airplane overnight. An airplane
Hmm.
sale take 2 years from the first phone call to the signing of a paper. But but if we know Venezuela is going to open up, right? And I don't think it's going to take 2 years. I think we're like weeks or months away. I know I'm really bullish on this, but I think we are President Trump and Delcy just like exchanged messages of like, Trump was like, you're doing really good. And Delcy was like, look, President Trump just talked about me because why? Because we're playing ball. She's making it seem like, at least from the outsider looking in, she's making it seem like the relationship's going well and
Hmm.
Venezuela wants to move forward.
Yeah.
And the new Venezuela wants to exist. Some people say, oh, she might have ulterior motives, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I think it's true. They want to rebuild Venezuela. They want to take Venezuela into a new game. But that to me, that exchange between Trump and Delcy, that signals something is going to happen quickly. And if companies can start putting salespeople there, business development people, right? You can hire that person remotely. And that person can.
Alex, that's what I was going to tell you. Like, here's the part that nobody talks about. That same professional that you're putting here, boots on the ground, can also support your existing operation right now. They're bilingual, they understand the region, so you're not paying
The
for
region
someone to
doesn't
sit and
matter.
wait.
They're not sitting and waiting because you could put them to work your Peru territory, your Ecuador
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
territory. They can easily fly to any of those territories. What, what I'm arguing is, if you already sell to Latin America, why not have one of your salespeople be from Venezuela? Maybe they're not selling in Venezuela just yet. In Venezuela, they're just networking, shaking hands,
Networking, yeah.
but they're learning the product line through their territory management of other countries around
Mm-hmm.
there, or even the
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean. If you sell to the Dominican Republic, if you sell to Aruba, Curacao, if you sell to any of the Caribbean islands except Cuba, of course, then you could. Well, then the person could just easily fly there. If you sell to
Yeah,
Panama,
for sure.
well, you're gonna have them working, right? It's not like they're sitting around, but it's a strategic
It's a
hire.
strategic hire, Alex. That's what I call a low risk position. And you're not speculating. You're not rushing. You're building local intelligence before the rush begins, and that's the intelligence that is going to be the difference between companies that enter smoothly and companies that enter blind, so to
And
speak.
it's an ROI position
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
one sale from that person could cover their salary for the entire year,
Oof.
right? I mean, of course, it depends on how big the sale is, but one sale. And so listen, when you're in business development, there's an actual ROI that you can put behind it. But there's other roles, Ignacio, and I want to move into the next segment here of this
All
podcast.
right.
It's not just business development roles. And I want to belt off some industries here, and let's talk about some remote hires that those industries could be already operating with. So let's start with the big one, oil and gas. You got oil and gas operators, right? These guys are the guys that are going to restart the energy engine. Obviously, a lot of them, the big five at least, are already there. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
what about the small guys who aren't in there yet? What can they start hiring? What remote roles could the small oil and gas operators start hiring today? What do you think?
Okay, Alex. So, if I take a little minute from what you just asked me, I think that the five most roles that I think are gonna be first available to start deploying. I think this is the business development manager, the probably energy market analyst, regulatory, obviously compliance analyst, Spanish speaking commercial coordinators, and supply chain research analysts. These professionals can support Latin American operation today while building a Venezuelan intelligence.
So it's what I'm hearing then is you've got some sales role and you really got sales and analysts.
Yeah,
And
sales engineers, Alex, that understand Venezuelan field
yeah,
conditions,
yeah.
field services coordinator, project support engineers, procurement specialists who know how to, source equipment under the OFAC compliant constraints, and obviously logistic, as I said, early coordinator who can move equipment into a country where ports infrastructure has deteriorated.
Yeah, so you've got the big industries right now, like we talked about on the opening. You've got oil and gas operators, energy services companies, and they could be hiring, again, engineers. And by the way, I want to remind the listeners, those engineers, it's not like they're going to be sitting around doing nothing. They could be doing engineering work for your company on other projects that you have in Texas or other countries. Maybe you have projects in Colombia. You've got projects in Peru. They could be doing work for your company, but because they're an engineer that's already located in Venezuela, they get to know your company culture. They get to know your product line so that when it opens up, when you pick up the phone and say, hey, Carlos, I need you to go visit this site. I need you to go visit this person. I'm going to set up a meeting for you. Boom. This person's already boots on the ground. They're already there.
Boots on the ground.
We've got these engineers. And I love that you mentioned procurement specialists. That's huge. And guess what? Venezuela had a ton of procurement specialists, a lot. They might not be procuring anything right now, or they may have moved to procurement in another industry. Hey, like we talked about earlier, they might be updating their resume and getting ready for the boom because procurement people will absolutely be needed. And how awesome is it to have over there? We talked about engineering companies. Engineering companies in the United States are going to be they're going to be busy. It's going to be busy for a while, especially oil and gas engineers. Oh, what about industrial construction? There's a lot of people that are going to be part of the construction boom. There's not enough construction companies in Venezuela, actually, because there was no projects as much as there are going to be now. So now construction coordinators are going to be needed there. What other kind of people in the construction industry?
Probably estimators, Alex, supply chain coordinators, vendor development managers, industrial procurement, especially Alex. We're here listing like the most we think needed roles, but here, in Venezuela, we need to rebuild everything. So, we'll have every role available in the market. It's a matter of which one we think can be doable both remotely and physically at the beginning of the ramp up.
And I saved the best for last, because I think these people need to be moving right now, which is the logistics and the equipment supply companies. These people
that's the backbone.
They already sell. These companies, logistics, equipment supply, and I know because one of them is our client. They already sell to oil and gas operations in other parts of Latin America. So they know they're going to be tapped for Venezuela, RFPs. So why not have, like one of our clients, why not have a person already there so that when the opportunities start to come about, boom, these people can knock on doors. Boom, these people can set up meetings. So your company already has representation there. Do you think that might create more trust? Right? A Venezuelan company, one of the reps of that U.S. company is actually a Venezuelan in Venezuela working for that company. I don't know. To me, I think there's trust there that gets built.
Yeah, it will, Alex, but it's gonna take a little bit of time, all right? But because here's the catch: Venezuela has deteriorated in all aspects, obviously, and custom processes are unpredictable. You know, storage facility may not meet international standards. Insurance requirements are obviously complex. These aren't problems you solve from a desk in Houston, you know, but it will get into a time probably in the next 12 months that this is going to be very fast paced fix, and you know this industry is going to have a full workload
But
in
here's the
re-entering here in Venezuela.
and you're being very pragmatic about this because the truth is things are going to take time.
Yeah.
However, this is what I want the listeners to remember as we close out here. The companies that win in reopening markets, they don't just move capital early and they don't wait around a lot of time. They move talent early because when the rebuild accelerates, when that 12-month thing is done, when that facility gets, up to inspection, the biggest constraint will not be capital. It will be skilled
Fully
people.
talent. And that's, Alex, that's what I was going to say. You solve that problem with someone on the ground, you know, who knows which ports are operational, which customs brokers are reliable, which warehouse have capacity. That's
Yes, sir.
logistic planning, you know. Um, I think that's what companies in the US need to start thinking about, getting someone here, boots on the ground, to start getting ramp up and have, you know, contract and another revenue stream, so to speak.
Awesome. Well, hey, that concludes episode 2 of the Rebuilding Venezuela
Great.
podcast. If you need any talent at all, Virtrify, the company that we own, we are boots on the ground in Venezuela. We practice what we preach. We have boots on the ground, HR, recruitment, business process optimization on the ground. We have 10,000 people in our database and it's growing tremendously. Every week, hundreds of new people are registering on our website because in Venezuela, we have a whole initiative going on over there that if you want to be part of the rebuilding of Venezuela, come to our website, register, upload your CV. We're creating this huge database so that when you need talent, we can access it for you. We do the vetting process for it. We become your employer of record. We're ready to serve the U.S. companies that want to be a part of the rebuilding of Venezuela.
Alex, let me finish the podcast here, the episode 2, by saying that if you're one of the one listening right now, pick one of these 5 industry. You know, ask yourself where you fit, and then ask the harder question: do I have the human intelligence I need to enter this market? Not in 2028. Not when it's, you know, obvious to, hey, let's go to Venezuela and operate. Do it right now. Do the intelligence right now. I think that phase 1 is not coming. Phase 1 is right now, is here. And the question is whether you are positioning or watching. So pick your industry and go ahead and come here and start investing in Venezuela.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Ignacio.